So then that my next question was, what stage or what size residential property do you stop investing in and move over to purchasing a commercial property? Like, for example, if you can get borrowing capacity for if you can buy a $800,000 house or a $1 million house, when does it become more of a liability as a residential investment in terms of liability being negatively geared?
It's just opportunity cost, right? Like, you can go down that. You've got the borrowing capacity for $800,000 purchase. The roadblocks with commercial is that you do need that larger deposit. So I always like to compare apples with apples. With so if you've got a $1.5 million purchase capacity, commercial, you're looking at a 30% deposit. So if you sort of go down that path of the same with resi, the next question is really like, well, what is your household income and what's your goals, essentially? Because the trade-off generally is the capital growth is greater in residential, but the cash flow is better in commercial. So looking at that front, it's a lot of people. That's why I like to balance portfolios with residential and commercial, because you get the best of both worlds. And at the end of the day, you want to be aiming towards a passive income goal, because that's what's going to help you retire or get out of that position that you're in. And commercial is the fastest way to do that. It's using residential to help fast track that process. So
as a starting point.
Yeah, because so if you're going a $1.5 million asset on a commercial front, then you're looking at, what's that, $450,000 as a deposit?
Yeah, because guys, just so you know, it's normally like the best. There are nuances to this, but like normally it's a 75% LVR, right? Or
generally 70
or less.
You can go 80 in commercial.
Yeah. And you can get no doc loans and lease doc loans and things like that. There's shades of grey, and we're trying to make this as black and white as possible for us to conceptualize and you guys to conceptualize as well. But there's so many shades, and yeah, it's a big jump to get to let's just say $1 million property, right? $1 million property, you're gonna need like $350K in cash, because you're going to need entry costs as well. You're going to need you highly suggest using a commercial buyer's agent, and then you're going to have stamp duties and fees for entry costs as well. So you're going to need your deposit plus entry costs.
Yep. Yeah, and the biggest barrier that people hit in that front. So going back to your example, you've $1.5 million. Do I buy a residential 1.5? Do I buy a commercial 1.5? If I had that, objective, a $1.5 million residential asset, if you're just looking at a detached house, it's not the best, because from a compounding growth perspective, you want to be playing in that sort of 750 to below mark, because it's more affordable. Therefore, the capital growth prospects are higher, because more people can afford that, and also in down periods, in economic hardships, those lower priced properties don't get affected as much, because people still need somewhere to live. So it's a sort of a risk mitigation strategy. The commercial side, the biggest issue is if you're looking at a $1.5 million purchase, you're looking around $450,000 in cash or equity to do that. Most people get to that point. If you've got your bank account staring at you with $450,000 in cash, it's hard to get to, because people, they look at it and go, oh, well, let's go on a holiday, let's go do this, let's go buy a new boat, let's buy a bigger house, and they're not actually taking that time to reflect, to go, well, what's our 10-year goal, what's our 20-year goal? They're kind of just the shiny ball syndrome, marketing, social expectations. I'm doing well with my big car, my big house, and I'm still doing that job that I probably hate, or I might hate, but hey, no one else is going to pay me that money to.
Isn't it funny to think, like, if you could just get $450,000 in cash? We'll talk about how you can get $450,000, not just cash in your bank account, but different ways as well, using property, residential property to get there. But isn't it funny to think that, all right, if I get $450,000 that I can use to buy a commercial property, I can get $97,000 a year in net income that's replacing my job, if not sometimes better for some people that is, say they're earning an 80k wage, right? You're getting a net income of almost 100 grand, and so that I want to.
That's a good question. I want to throw out there is, if someone gave you 450 grand today,
how would you spend it?
What would you do with it? How would you spend it? Are you the person that would just go and spend it all and then have that really good 12 to 24 month period in your life?
So such a good question.
Or would you go and buy that asset that's going to give you a residual, a passive income of $97,000 year on year, and essentially, over a 10-year period, you could pay down the rest of the debt, and then your income would increase, so therefore it could even be higher. So, and with rental increases as well, inflation, all that. So it's kind of like saying, would you spend it now, or would you take the lower $97,000 a year on year for the rest of your life?
Yeah.